The first one that was adopted by all parties before even the COP15 was the one related to urbanization, which is called Target 12. It really shows that there is a wide understanding and consensus and value associated with bringing back biodiversity in city. The target focuses on increasing the space, blue and green, inside of the cities, but also enhancing the ecosystem connectivity, which is essential, as we know, for all species, and specifically, of course, for migratory species. To make sure that this target is actually reached, there is also what we call in the Global Biodiversity Framework a monitoring framework, which is basically a list of indicators. And so there are indicators associated with this Target 12, which reports the share of built-up areas of city that is green or blue, and as well as the services it provides to the person. And I think those two pillars are quite interesting and quite illustrative of what I was just mentioning before, which is the value of biodiversity in city. I must say that when you look at the Global Biodiversity Framework, which is, sorry, I should have said earlier, but which is the framework that the world has adopted in Montreal at the COP15, the December 2022, and that is in a way setting the scene and providing the different targets that the parties should reach for the 10 years to come. This framework encompasses several other targets, not just Target 12, that are related with biodiversity in city. I would like to mention the Target 1, for instance, which is linked to planning. And planning, obviously, is important. Planning of cities is particularly important. Current urbanization is taking and grabbing an enormous amount of land, not necessarily taking into account the connectivity in terms of the biodiversity that is requested, not necessarily taking into account the need to have space, to have wetlands, to have parts that are going to be absorbing, in a way, also the adaptation to climate change, or the impact of climate change. All these areas, in a way, or all these items are not necessarily covered in the way the urbanization is taking place right now. And so Target 1 is an important one. There is a Target 2 on restoration. Ecosystem restoration is definitely part of what needs to be done to get nature in city. And Target 4 is also an interesting one. It deals with species extinction and what we call human-wildlife conflict, which definitely is happening when city expand. So given the cross-cutting dimension of the issue, international donors of biodiversity finance are also increasing their support to projects that are linked to nature in city. And it is indeed important to better articulate urban development in general in the world and the protection of the environment. It is the case, and it is increasingly taken into account by the different multilateral development banks, and for its part, France is also having this approach as far as its bilateral development bank is concerned. Perhaps just allow me a few points regarding how France has taken up this target. We have, as you may know, developed a national strategy on biodiversity, and it's the third one, and it covers the decade that goes until 2030, just as the Global Biodiversity Framework. The National Biodiversity Strategy is based on a triple objective: to protect biodiversity, to restore it, and to live with it by enhancing its benefits. It's basically structured around 4 pillars. It has goals, targets, and indicators that are pretty much reflecting the Global Biodiversity Framework. It has one specific objective related to nature and city, which is specifically called bringing back nature to the cities in order to adapt to the consequence of climate change and improve the well-being of urban population. So, as we have said, nature in the city provide many services to urban population, including adaptation to climate change, as I was mentioning, and that has been definitely one area that the biodiversity plan has been willing to look at. This comes from cooling of air, improving the water management, floods prevention, air depollution, but also improvement in the quality of the environment of life with the creation of places for conviviality, sports, which, as we all know, is very favorable to good mental and physical health. So, in our national biodiversity strategy, we have set up resources to finance 3 specific areas that are